So I was 18-ish or like 19 years old when I first worked at Goodwill. Oh yeah. Also, I forgot to mention what basically made me want to share, this story and whatnot is basically because more so like this article that I looked up. You can find this article yourself, but basically it's this guy named Dave Goody. It was an article back in 2017. All right, so basically you can read the article yourself, but basically he made a video saying that someone that was there at the place at GW. It was back in 2017. He basically he saw someone get their head crushed, in the machines, right, and he didn't make it out. And when he tried to report on it, they basically fired him. They let him go. They fired him, and that was just that, which it's fucked up. And sure, yes, even though they did get fined $100,000 for that, they did get fined 100K for it. That's kind of what made me think, like, you know what? Honestly, if he came out about this, then I might as well come out about this too. You know what I mean? But either way, just to be very clear, like, I'm not finna do a bunch of extra stuff. By the way, I'm not finna like start a GoFundMe. I'm not gonna do a bunch of extra stuff or whatnot, or start some movement. I'm not trying to do too much with this, by the way. So just to get that out of the way, I'm not gonna do a bunch of extra stuff. I'm not gonna start a lawsuit or a bunch of extra stuff like that. This is just me, just speaking on what I saw. That's my truth and my experience. So yeah. Anyway, continue. This is around like April, I believe. So I was introduced to Goodwill, and mind you, I had a lot of stuff going on around that time. So when it came to the book and like being on the news network, all that. So I had a lot going on, right? So anyway, but yeah. So basically, I filed this application, and mind you, it was this guy. I'll call him K or Ken or whatever. So he was nice, really sweet. Filed me up or whatever. So basically, like, the way how things were set up now, here's the thing. I don't know how things work now, but the way how things were set up then is that it wasn't just, oh, you get the job and then you find out or whatever. Basically, here's this. So you had to, in order for you to get the job at Goodwill, right, or GW is what I'll call it for the entire video, you basically had to go to the other side of the GW, the other side, which is the program side. There's another building, right? So you go to the other building. And then when you get there, there's a lot of computer rooms everywhere, computers. You go in, they have a projector, and it's kind of like an orientation type of thing, right? It's basically orientation. So my mom had to sign something, then I had to sign something. We go back to the job place, the job side, the Goodwill is what I call it, and then basically, they was like, oh, hey, you got a job, so we'll see you on Monday or whatever, right? Right. So, that's kind of just how it really worked when I was there. Like I said, I don't know how this works now, but that's how it just worked, then. Right, so there was that. You know what I'm saying? It's my first day. I go there. My mom, she drops me off. Whatever. Right, and then it was a different manager. So this manager don't know who he is. Whatever. He tells me, oh, go wait, go wait. So I was okay, cool. So I'll go wait. It didn't take that long for shit to go crazy. So like I remember I was just sitting there and then like he would basically just goes, oh, no, you didn't do what I told you to do. You didn't do this. No. You didn't do what I told you to do. I told you to go to this door, not that door. Mind you, this is my first day. This is my first day. I don't know nothing, right? This is my first day. I don't know much of nothing. I'm just, and mind you, I'm confused. I'm like, huh? He's like, nah, you didn't do what I told you to do. You didn't do, I told you to do this, do that. You didn't do what I told you to do, or whatever. He gets the keys. We go to the office. So, I'm just in the office just sitting there thinking, yeah, this is going to be really, really bad. And then he gets on the phone, because I guess he was trying to figure out what I was supposed to do or whatever. Hangs up, and then, I literally immediately say, all right, dude, look, I don't know what your problem is, or like, or I basically said something along the lines of, dude, are we gonna have a problem, me and you? And then he just goes, oh, nah, I don't got an issue with you, which that turned out to be a lie, because, throughout my whole experience, he didn't like me since day one. But then again, I really didn't care. I really didn't care at all, just because I'm not about to, have some feud with someone I don't even know. You feel me? Like, I really didn't care, Because the type of person I was, I wanted to just, do my work, clock in, and go home. That's the type of person I was at work. So then when I see, we go out, he basically shows the people that are supposed to train me how to do the stuff, right? And the way how he was, going at them, I was like, oh yeah, I'm really doomed for life. Like I'm just this little savage. The whole routine of Goodwill is kind of pretty, simple, pretty simple with that. Um, Basically, what you do there is you basically pick up trash, you throw it. There's machines, so basically when people donate clothes and stuff like that, you basically put stuff in the trash, whatever. That's honestly like the whole routine of it. There's nothing really much with that. My duty was that I basically had to put stuff up on the shelves, right? So that was kind of like what my job was at GW. I had to put a lot of stuff up on the shelves and things like that, right? So that's what I used to do, or what they trained me to do, or whatever. Bro, I remember the first time I got in trouble. Now, like I said before, still my first day, or it was been like a couple of days, a few days since I've been there. Mind you, I'm still new. Like, yeah, I get you. Here's the thing, I get you're supposed to explain to me the rules. I get you explaining me the rules, but still, like, I'm still kind of new. Like, I don't really, you know what I'm saying, know what I'm supposed to be doing. So I remember I pick up a box one time. It was like a random box or whatever. So I pick up this little, I don't know, because I guess he was training me, and here's why I will say this, right? So the common thing that I noticed about GW is like the lack of training. I will say that they do kind of lack training when it comes to that necessarily. So example, basically this. I remember he asked me to pick up a certain box because the box is, like I said, my training was duty. I had to put stuff on the shelves. So I guess for some reason I picked up, a box. And then basically, he just like, no, that's not right. That's not right. Basically, just like getting frustrated at me for that. So basically, he's like, no. So then basically, I had to go to the office and I get written up, just for a little mistake. And that's the thing. Just letting you know this, right? So, mind you, this is like the common thing when it comes to, and again, not all of them. I just want to make this clear. Not all the managers, because again, you're gonna have some management that is will help you, that actually will teach you how to help you, and then there's some that will just get frustrated with you. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. Some people, you're just gonna have some that just won't care. Then you have some that will actually help you and do what they supposed to do, right? Do what they're supposed to do or whatever, right? So and I know what you're thinking. Like, yeah, like what I'm saying right now is like what, like, oh, you're saying stuff like someone you don't like or whatever. That's the usual thing, which is true. Stuff like that usually does happen in retail, right? It does. However, it is. But however, there is gonna be, the things I noticed was like basically was like something ain't adding up, something ain't right or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like the basic stuff I'm telling you. Because there's more than just that necessarily, right? You know, but that's also the common thing that I really notice when it comes to GW, right? For basically for whatever reason, if you do something that like basically with some of these managers, you can't make certain mistakes. That's basically the common thing. You can't make certain mistakes when it comes to certain managers. Some managers, even if you're new, like that's my thing. There's no, oh, I didn't know or whatever. You're still gonna be in trouble. You're still gonna be in some deep shit. You know what I mean? They're still gonna get frustrated with you and then send you to the office. Be like, you know what? That's it. Come to the office. I'm writing you up. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the whole. That's kind of like the whole routine I noticed with GW, right? Or the whole not the routine, but the whole like common thing I noticed when it comes to the management, right? And like I said, they switch management a lot. So sometimes you'll get different type of managers every single time, which I don't know why they do that, but I don't know. That's just how it rolled or whatever. Basically, that's the punishment. The punishment is that you have to just go into the office and they'll write you up. Basically, get a referral, and it'll like be on your record and stuff like that. That type of person to where like they would just not. Like, they don't talk to nobody. They just clock in, do their work, and go home. Yeah, that's literally me. That was literally me. That was the type of person that I was when it comes to someone that's either at work or whatever. Just clock in, I did my work, and I went home. I didn't really talk to much people too much. So, but I don't know. Just one day, I got so ticked off to where, like, mind you, and again, I do the shelves. So I remember I was just like slamming shit because that's how like so pissed off I was. I was literally so pissed off when it came to to like, once again, I don't know what I did wrong, but apparently that's what happened. What I did wrong was, some little small mistake I made or something. I remember I was just like, I was like literally slamming like the products that you put on the shelves. I literally was like slamming it, just to, and mind you, I had anger issues when I was younger. I had like anger issues when I was younger. So I remember I was just like slamming it like, how I was doing. The other coworkers, they were checking on me like, oh, are you okay? Are you alright? Are you fine? Or whatever. And I bitch was like, oh, yeah, I'm alright. More damn well I wasn't. And I had my fist balled up the whole entire time. They called me to the office. Then this one guy, I don't remember his name. We'll just say Aaron. Alright, so Aaron, he brings me over there. And then we'll call the other guy Quet or whatever. So, and I'm like, did he bring you here? And he was like, no. So he basically tries to calm me down. Also, one of the other managers that was also like really nice and really sweet. So yeah. I don't call this traumatic. That's not what I'm saying. This isn't like a traumatic thing or whatever. It was either just weird things that I noticed or just crazy stuff that happened. Right? I remember this one dude, I don't know. He was just sitting by himself and he gets yelled at. Like, I don't know. I was just in the break room one day and then I just see him, which I don't know. I don't know what the situation was. I don't know what the case may be, but apparently he was just sitting by himself, but no, he just gets yelled at. Yeah, he just randomly gets yelled at, screamed at. I don't know what the cause may be, but that's just what it was, And then it was just always the same dude. Like we'll call this dude we'll just say Zaya. We'll say Zaya. Right, so I don't know. So for whatever reason, I would constantly see him like get yelled at. It's like he was always a punching bag, right? Which I did see this too with other employees as well too, right? And again, I didn't really talk to people too much. I didn't really socialize too much like that. Basically, but eventually, there were some people that did try to socialize with me, and I kind of, which eventually I did went from going from being quiet, right, and not saying much to basically, being someone that someone can got along with, right? I was pretty chill, didn't really do too much. And people just, some co-workers, they did like me. So, yeah, there was that. So, me and so some of the co-workers that were there, they were, nice. If you're a new person, obviously some of the supervisors or whatever, they're supposed to train you, but they don't do that. They're just like, oh, here, take this, do whatever I tell you to do with it. And if you basically make a mistake, guess what? You know what happens? They get mad at you. They'll get mad at you and they'll write you up. So that's honestly the common thing that I know. So it's not really anything new at this point. Which honestly, like I said, they were supposed to train you, but again, they don't do that. And one time, this one person, I think he was, I don't know, he was in the back, right? But what was weird was he didn't even work there. He didn't even work that in the back of the place. So I'm like, okay. That Cardi B meme, like, oh, that's suspicious, that's weird. That's kind of vibe that I was getting from GW, where like I just noticed certain things that kind of was just like, something just doesn't seem right with it. Like something just seems very weird and off about, my place of work. Same thing that constantly happens, alright? And at that point, this is like what, 2 or 3 months? So at that point, I'm kind of getting used to it, but at the same time thinking, yeah, so something ain't, this ain't right. One day I was just clocking in, and then this lady, I don't know, I never seen her before, like never seen her. So, like I don't know, the whole thing was really, really crazy. So I'm just watching it, and then they were just like going back and forth like da da da, and then she like put his finger, like she literally put his fingers like this. She was like, I could punch in your face right now. That's literally what she said. That's literally what she straight up said. I literally straight up her to say, I could punch in your face right now. Da da da. He's trying, so she's going off on him. He's trying to argue back like, oh da da da, because he was getting tired of it. He got tired of it. He got tired of it. He got tired of like being of like getting yelled at and screamed at, and she was just going in. And it was that same guy again. It was that same guy again. Mind you, this guy rarely stood up for himself. He rarely, said much or none of it. It was like I don't know. It was like he was a punching bag. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. He was just always yelled at, screamed at, whatever. And again, I don't know if he was disabled or not. I'm not really sure, but what I do know, the person that was training me, he was disabled. That I do know. But the other one, I wasn't sure. I don't know what the situation could be or whatever. But obviously I'm thinking like, well, like I'm just confused. I'm like, uh, like what the fuck? Like, what the hell is going on? So they're constantly yelling and screaming at you like da 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 da. I told you not to do this. Told you like that's weird what she's saying. I told you not to do this, not to do that. You do it anyway. You do it anyway. You never listen. You never listen. Da 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 da. Like just going into him, mind you. And the whole thing just leads to the office. It literally just leads to the office where, like I said, you go whenever someone's in trouble. They go to the office and they get written up. And she's telling like, go to the office right now. Go to the office. Like, get your ass in the. Well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't remember like the words she was saying, but it was like I don't know. It was something along the lines of that. It was like, get in the office right now. Get in the office right now. Basically, like just going in, and then all I hear, mind you, and I'm straight up listening, right? I'm straight up listening, and I don't know. It was just like that was just the most crazy thing. So I slowly like listen, right? And then all I hear is yelling, screaming, yelling, screaming. And mind you, the same guy that has the issue with me, he was in the office, and they were both just constantly yelling at him, screaming like da 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 da. That's all I hear. And then he's trying to bark back. He's trying to fight back. He's trying to like yell back at them because he's getting tired of it. Obviously, he's getting tired of it. So he's barking back, and they're going back and forth, back and forth. That's all I hear in the office. All I hear in the office was yelling and screaming, yelling, screaming, yelling, screaming, yelling, screaming. That's all I really hear. So me being curious and not, wondering what's going on, I asked the people. I'm like, hey, do you know what happened? What just happened, right? Like I'm asking people what's going on. They just didn't really say much or whatever, right? So that just let me confused. I'm like, what? So I see him leave. The guy that got yelled at, Zaya, I see him leave, right? And so I go to check up on him because me trying to be the decent person I am, I go to check up on him, right? So I go check up on him, and then I ask him, hey, are you? Because me trying to be a decent person, right? I'm like, hey, are you okay? Are you fine? What just happened? Are you good, right? And so he basically just smiles at me. That's all he does. He just tries to put a smile on his face. Walks out. I think his mom picked him up, so he gets in the car and he just leaves. And I'm just left confused. Look like, yeah. And I go back to my duty the whole day, being so confused as fuck. I'm like, what just happened? What did I just see? What did I just witness? The managers, they gather everybody around for a meeting, right? They gather everyone around for this meeting or whatever. When it came to this incident, I guess, which I don't know, it was basically something along the lines of, we're sorry for the inconvenience. We're sorry for, what you've seen and whatever and blah, blah, blah. So, everything calmed down. So after everything calmed down, we had this meeting. It was a whole meeting. It was like a whole big scene, right, when it came to what saw. And that's the thing. Everybody was watching. It wasn't just me. But, like, the whole time, everybody was just watching it. Everybody was just seeing this dude just get yelled at and screamed at by this lady. Yelled at, screamed at, getting poked in the forehead like this, like a punch in your face or not. Basically just threatening him. And she got so mad. And I'm thinking, and at the same time, I'm thinking, what was he doing that was so wrong? What was he doing that was so bad to where you got so easily pissed off to where to where for some reason you got that pissed off to where you're like threatening to punch him in the face or whatever. Like, yeah, then I asked the management, like, hey, what was that about? Blah, blah. It was a different manager. Like I said, they switch management a lot. That's what they do, right? So I'm like, hey, what just happened? What was that about with, Zaya? Because, again, I'm curious. I want to know, because, again, think about it. If you were in my shoes, okay? If you were in my shoes, all right? If you see stuff, you notice things that just seems very often weird, guess what? Obviously, you're going to think, yeah, something ain't adding up. Something is very fishy about it. Like, what's really been going on? So, the reasoning why the lady yelled, right, or like screamed at him, it was more so because, again, same thing that Lyric was just talking about, that basically he wasn't doing something right or whatever. Basically, they were basically just saying something like, oh, well, he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do or whatnot. So I'm like, okay, so, like, in my head, I'm just thinking, okay, so that's your reasoning on why you on why he got threatened. Okay, so that's your reason on why he was told to get punched in the face. Like that's your reasoning. Um, No, sure. Even though mind you, it was a new management, so even though he said that, oh, what she did, like, oh, what she did, was very unprofessional, whatnot. What she did was unprofessional. Which, yeah, she was fired. But like I said, she for some reason. Now, what's weird about this was she was let go. She eventually was fired, but for some reason, she was transferred to another GW. Which I don't know. That didn't really making sense. I don't know, because she clearly do the exact same thing that she did there. So I don't know why they would you know do that. But yeah, the whole thing was pretty crazy. The whole thing was pretty fucked up. And basically, we all just had to go back to our positions basically. And basically, no one could really talk about it. Um, no one could really talk about it. Even the people that saw what happened, they couldn't really talk about it. Especially when I asked them what happened, they basically was like, "Oh, we can't really talk about it. We can't really redress it or whatnot." I remember, you know, I would tell my mom about this and that. I would constantly tell her what's been going on and stuff like that. And that's my thing. I'm like, Mom, look, I'll do anything. You don't know how suspicious this place kind of seems. You know what I mean? Like, I'll literally try to find a job. I'll literally do this, do that. You know what I mean? And there's the thing. I don't fault my mom for this, by the way, at all. I really don't, because she genuinely wanted to. She genuinely thought what she was doing was best for me. So I don't fault my mom for this at all. I really don't. She just was just thinking like, oh, you're gonna get benefits, you're gonna get this, you're gonna get that, blah blah. But it's like, is it worth it though? Is it worth the benefits? And um, and all of that. So, but eventually she found out. So months go by, and then eventually she ended up finding out about the whole thing, and then she ended up going to the place to confront him. Right? She went, eventually confront. So eventually she found out, and this was when I was finna leave. Right? This is like when I was finna leave. Right? Um, you know, the manager that I did liked, I'll call him Kenny. Right? So Kenny. Like I said, he was the one that got me to GW. He was really nice, really sweet. Um, Eventually, he ended up like getting let go or fired. I don't know why. It was something they said that he did or something like that. You know, Something that he was doing, right? But eventually he got let go. You know, at first, sure, and at first, at first I missed him. At first I was like, oh, the people that I like always have to leave, whatever. You know, hey, I hope that he is somewhere. But he eventually found another job. So, I hope that he eventually, is somewhere, doing what's best for him. That he, was doing well for himself. You know what I mean? So I hope the best for that. I eventually was about to resign. So I ended up resigning. I had to like sign something and resign or whatever. Because I was going to leave eventually. I wasn't going to stay for too long, obviously. So I was eventually going to leave anywhere. So my mom, she eventually found out about what's been going on, and she ended up calling HR and stuff. Right? She eventually reported the stuff that I seen to HR, whether if it was mental abuse, emotional abuse, um, hell, maybe physical too. Because like I said, a lady, she threatened to punch him and did that to his face. You know what I mean? So eventually she reported on it. I said something to HR. Mind you, when you call HR, right, they investigate the place. That's what they did. And I'm not gonna lie. What kind of made it a little bit funny about it is that, mind you, the man that been out like me since day one, he got pissed off over it because we called HR. Which again, I didn't give a shit. Like, I gave a fuck about how you feel. Like, what? Like, what you gonna do? At the end of the day, I'm not there. I don't. At the end of the day, I left. I resigned. So what you gonna do? Like, this honestly is just what's fucked up about it. Don't make any sense. Okay, I get it. If you're a manager or a supervisor that does what you're supposed to do, if you help them, like put them in the right direction, like help them do what they're supposed to do, especially if they're new and stuff like that. Hey, good for you. But that's my thing though. If you're gonna easily get frustrated, if you're easily going to, you know what I mean, just get mad, just because of a mistake they made, it's like, why the hell are you even here? Like real shit. Why the hell are you even there? Why the fuck are you there to, like, why are you there if you're just gonna just be frustrated at your employees? Especially when they are a little off. Are if some of them are disabled, if some of them are you know, are troubled and try to have a better life for themselves. You know what I mean? You know, some of them are ex-cons because, like I said, they hire people that you know had a criminal record or ex-con, right? It's like, why are you there? It's like, you know what I mean? It's just like, why are you there? You feel me? Like, why are you there? Just it don't make sense to me. It really doesn't.